This is the centre cabane for the Da Vinci biplane. I printed it out, stuck it on some wood, cut it out, and here it is. So I've got these components. Oh, I've just realised actually I'm going to glue them together, epoxy them together for accuracy. And what I'm going to do is to lay them down on here, cover them with plastic film to stop them sticking together. Good old piece of plastic. I've seen quite a few models built on it, this piece has, but it's still going. It'll all become clear when I start building it up, what my idea is. As usual, I've thought it through to a certain point, but not all the way. There we go. That's that epoxy. We'll let that dry, and then I can possibly drill through the holes at the marked places. These centre holes are the ones that are going to take the dowel through the fuselage and literally fix the cabanes to the fuselage. So I'll drill these holes, and then this is going to glue in here like that, and then the dowel will go underneath and the rubber bands can go over the top from dowel to dowel. Okay, paper off, holes drilled, edges sanded. That's going to glue like that, and the gap left in the middle is going to be the same width as the fuselage. So I'm going to pin this bottom bit down, then I'll wedge these up at 90 degrees. 90, sir. Yes, sir. Put my sockets in like that, and that'll hold it in 90 degrees for as long as it needs to be held at 90 degrees. It's quite important that these go in the same place longitudinally, because they have to slip onto the dowel in the fuselage. Just thinking then I might just change it to the other fuselage, but I don't want to use that tail, see, so let's go back to plan A. The unusual thing of this is you'll see that the wing, the lower wing, is hanging down the bottom of the fuselage as much as the top wing's going up. Hey Cliff, what a ridiculous idea. Well, yes and no. You've got a plan, have you, Cliff? No, I haven't. So that'll sit like that. Okay. And then the top wing will sit precariously. I did say precariously. I did say that word. There we go. So top wing is going to fit on there. And now the thrust line is in the centre of the wings, which should make a massive difference. I'm going to adapt these wings, or I might just build a new pair, or I might use the wood from this. We'll see. I've got big design changes actually, so I might just pull this wing apart. I bought some software for drawing, CAD software. I've learnt to do it in my spare time. So instead of drafting the Da Vinci Flyer paperwork, which I did originally, I can now do it on the screen. And the beauty of that is it takes me a little bit longer perhaps, but I can modify it without having to redraw completely. So before you see a pair of wings I'll treat myself and print out too. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to draw something out twice, do you? You can just reverse the image and print it. So what you see before you is an amended Da Vinci Flyer wing. Now on the biplane, they're two great the wings, I think, were just too big an area, which didn't help, and it necessary. But by making the wings smaller, I can do away with the outboard strut as well, because it's pretty much self-supporting. So if I show you a wing that I made earlier, I'm going to dismantle it. I'm certainly going to use the leading edge, so there's nothing wrong with that. But you can see how much smaller it is. So the trailing edge now comes to there and across. So quite a bit smaller. So first thing I'm going to do is to strip it off, get the leading edge out. Might even be able to reuse the, although it's 1/4 inch instead of 3/16 now. Might be able to use the main spars, nothing wrong with it, apart from the fact it's water by the look of it. So first of all, I'm going to remove the covering. There's no point in you watching me do this, because it's, well, actually it is. Watch the first couple of cuts, it's incredibly satisfying. X marks the spot. Now to get it to undo, it might be worth heating it up to get it to detach from the balsa. Seems to be coming off reasonably well. It's coming off very well, in fact, so I'm happy with that. Okay, that'll do for the minute. So what can I use? Probably use this bit again. So I'll leave it on for the minute. That one can come out. That one's coming off. Line, but I'm just going to come inside it a little bit, just in case I need to adjust it slightly. Okay, that's discarded. This bit is retained. Okay, I may as well leave these reinforcements in if this rib stays in, even if it doesn't. I'll do the same to the other wing, guys. Cut out the parts I need, and I'll be back. Got to cut a rib to go in there and 2 ribs to here. So I've notched the back, and I've also got this piece here which I've cut down to go back in there. I'll cut it to length after I've assembled it. So let's get sticking, shall we? Just pre-glue the end grains. Actually, I'm wondering if I ought to cut the ribs, because it might be easier to assemble it with the ribs there. Okay, welcome back. Cut out this rib here. I've had to remove the diagonal because you can't get it in both sides at once, so I'm going to glue it in here. Pull it back and down, sort of like that. And then we can maneuver it into position. Okay, I've got this damp cloth around here just to help it to ease in. Whether it's working out, not sure, but still. Can't hurt. Right, that's going to go in there. It's a nice fit. Plenty on the front. It's going to look absolutely amazing when I put it on the aeroplane. Okay, so this is the final rib. It's a sweet little shape, isn't it? So that will go in there. Then I'll glue that down over there. It's not under much tension. And then everything will just sand into shape. That's quite good, because I've managed to reuse the both main spars. Only had to cut 3 new ribs, and the rest I've reused, all of it. So I just reshaped it. So I think that'll be better to have a smaller wing on the lower half of the biplane. Well, here's a sight to gladden the eyes, chaps. Two lovely wings ready to lift off the building board. Open up this end rib, put an extra piece of balsa in there, not that piece, then I can glue in the dihedral brace, because it's going to be a one-piece wing. From now on, all wings are one-piece wings. Just been outside and sanded the wings trailing edges a bit, so I'm happy to join them now. I've also cut out a dihedral brace, 1/16 ply. So what I've got to do is to cut down here to fit that into there. It's flat bottom, 6 centimeters across the center. So let's just make a cut. I think I can sort of guess. I've just watched Dad's RC Hangar live stream from the hangar, which was great. But I couldn't do any filming while I'm watching, so Chris is gone now, so we can crack on now. I've sanded it anyway. It was good timing, Chris. That's got to be vertical straight down to the main spar. As close as I can get it, which is there. And then I have to cut a slot 1/16 of an inch wide, which happens to be the width for this file, just about. So if I go down there with the file, it should clean it out to about 1/16. It's pretty soft balsa, this actually. This is what happens when you modify a model and it's not made from scratch, so that's nice. But this dihedral brace is tapered, goes from thinner to thicker. In fact, the whole wing goes to a thicker thickness right up to there, and then it drops down. Yeah, that's pretty good. Do the one up this end and call that a fit. That way round, perfect. Slightly lower on there, but the gap looks about right, so reasonably good fit there. So that will glue in there like that, and I've got 2 bits of main spar to glue to. Right, I've mixed up some epoxy, so it's time to glue together. And there goes 2 little dots, go in there and down. And there again, I'll put a little bit on the end. Pushes together and they go in like that. Right, let's just put a couple more pegs on for good measure, I think, and let that set off, and I'll be back in a minute. That's a nice fit, no reason why it shouldn't. See, we cut them accurately, so no reason why they shouldn't just drop in there a treat. I'll show you a little trick I was telling one of my subscribers about the other day. He was placing small pieces, but if you use a pin, you can just pop it straight in with the pin, and your big fat fingers don't get glued to the part you're gluing in. The only thing is, make sure the pin is in well, because when you're putting glue on, it drops off sometimes if you're not careful. A bit heavy-handed. So with the pin, I can just place that in there like that and hold the piece in place and whip the pin out. Yeah, looks okay. I've just pinched the dowels out of the top holes and put them in the bottom because I've got to cut some more. I'll do that now. I'm quite happy with that. It's gone on quite nice. They hold it pretty much in the right place. Let's get the top wing on. So I've got a bit of plywood on the trailing edge there to stop any cutting in of the balsa. First glimpse of the biplane with the smaller wings. I think that works. I know what you're thinking. You're going to tear the wings off as soon as you land. Yes, I will. So I need an undercarriage, of course. But that actually is pretty much pretty much it. In theory, the top wing's +1 and the bottom wing's neutral. Okay, as you know, I wanted some sort of undercarriage on the Da Vinci Flyer, and this is what I've drawn. A pair of skids. Drew them, and I've just been to the shed and cut them out. It's only light ply, cheap light ply at that, but they're going to be banded on. Now I've beveled the edges so as they go out a little bit like that. And then the whole lot's going to be banded on under the lower wing. So all I've got to do is to stick them on. This is just to test the wing platform out. I have actually drawn up a new fuselage for the biplane, so let's see how that goes. Right, we'll let that set. Won't take long. Then we'll have a go at the other one. Right, I've got it wedged up then, guys, so as soon as that's dry I can stain it and mount it. Oh, I'll just show you something. If you remember the Mark 1 fuselage, or rather Mark 2 fuselage, that's the Mark 1 of course, is 2 inches not as long as the later one. But now I've made the bottom wing for the triplane, which is biplane, slip of the tongue, that much smaller. It will actually now sit on top of that one because everything's modular. So now it's more in proportion. And of course, less wing area would be quite the little racer. Especially if I leave the undercarriage off and the pilot. But yeah, that looks, oops, that's the triplane. That looks better proportioned. Just bang the head on the triplane. So yeah, quite excited to try that. Okay, so there it is sitting on its skis, and I think it's looking okay. So this is a test for the biplane wings. If this flies okay, I've got a fuselage drawn up, proper biplane fuselage, but this is just there to hold the radio gear in place really. So it's got a nice rocking action, look. It's just to land, it's just something to land on without damaging the wings really. So there we are, a smaller winged version of the Da Vinci Flyer. Just got to cover them obviously. You can see how much smaller they are. And the V-tail. I'm going to put a battery in now and work out the centre of gravity, and of course I've moved the wing forward to make the tail longer. In effect, you can see how much further forward from the wing dowel position in the side of the fuselage. Pilot's too tall to go in there now, so it'll have to be pilotless for this one. Don't need interplane struts, they both banded on and quite solid. They will be with extra bands, but I think, like from this angle, it could be rather stunning in the air. Okay guys, I'll stop there. Suffice to say, thanks for watching. Have a look at the club members join button and see if there's a level that interests you and you can support the channel. And I'll see you in the next video, which may or may not be the maiden of this one. We'll find out. Okay guys, change of plan. I'm not going to use the V-tail fuselage as you've just seen in the picture, because the nose is in moving the wings forward, because I've shortened the nose and I'm going to need way too much weight on the nose. So I'm going to go to the standard tail setup, because don't forget, this is really just to test the concept of the biplane, make sure I got the wings right. So it doesn't matter what fuselage, but this fuselage is better because the nose is longer. I'm going to put the wing, instead of moving it forward, I'm actually going to move it back an inch, so it makes it even longer. This fuselage is already lengthened, so it's going to be similar to the earlier fuselage. Probably still going to be an inch longer because only moving the wing back an inch. So this is a better idea. It's the same width fuselage, so it's going to go straight on. The dowels, the original dowels, pushed out because I didn't glue them in. So all I've got to do is to move these two fixing dowels back, but keep them level with the top of the fuselage datum line, not angled as they are at the moment. And possibly put a little bit of reinforcement on the inside of the fuselage here, because it's only 1/8 balsa, whereas the top one's got a doubler on it. But I can't go back any further than 1 inch because the receiver's in the way. So that's what I'm going to do now, and so I'm going to end up with a much longer nose. And I did have a nice tail skid. I just drew one up to put on that fuselage. I've got 2 sizes, which is based on the new tail undercarriage skid, but just turned around the other way. But I don't think I can use that because I've already got a little skid on the bottom there, which is part of the rudder hinge as well. So anyway, that aside, let's get on with moving these back. Exciting, still exciting. Okay, we're getting there. Look at that. So now I've got a lovely long nose. That will help the CG immensely. I'll put some little plywood doublers on the inside and reinforce the holes in the balsa with a bit of CA. So let's reassemble it. Sits doesn't sit there, sits there. Tail skid, we're talking about the undercarriage skid, goes on there. The whole lot's held on by good old rubber bands, which are not going to go on until I put the dowels in. The biggest benefit of banded on wings, I've always said it, I've never liked bolted on wings, is the degree of flexibility you've got. If things land a little bit too wonky, things move and don't break. And the way I fly and the places I fly, that's a good thing. Okay, so there we are, back to looking like an aeroplane. Look at that, actually balances, or nearly. Right, let's just pop a battery in and see how it's behaving. Before it was balancing back here on the other model, but that's lovely and nose heavy, so that's made a huge difference. Just that nose, well, it is actually 3 inches longer probably, so it's a decent size in front. Although I did have an idea, I won't reveal yet because I'm going to keep it for another day. So it's on the main spar on the top wing, which is still too far back, I reckon. It's no, I'd say that was about where it should be actually. That's quite a long way in front. That's about at the leading edge of the bottom wing. I'll turn it upside down. It's the same difference. It's the same difference balancing it on the leading edge on the bottom wing or the mid spar on the top wing. That's with the battery all the way forward. So there it is with the standard tail and a much longer nose, which is good. So thanks for watching everybody. I'll see you in the next video. It may be the maiden of this one. And have a look at the little join button if you want to have a look at joining the channel and look at the different perk levels. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers guys.